All right, hey guys, we are now on the second question for the FRQ for the 2012 microeconomics exam. So, right off the bat here, we are Teresa, and we are consuming both bagels and toy carbs. So, remember when I told you, as soon as you see two goods, the first thing that goes through your mind is the MUX price of X, MUY price of Y. Okay, without even reading any part of the question. As soon as I see two goods, I write that down. I don't want to forget that. So let's see what happens here. The table above shows Teresa's margin utility from bagels and toy cars. What is her total utility from purchasing three toy cars? So total utility, okay? That's what we're trying to find. If she does one car, she gets 10 utility. If she gets two cars, she has a marginal utility of 8. Because she bought the second car, she got 8 more utility. So if she is having two cars, she is 18 happy. She got 10 from the first car, 8 from the second car, so a total of 18. Now, if she does three cars, she gets an extra 6. So that would be 24. So because she does one car, she's 10. Because she does two cars, that's 18. And because she does three cars, that's 24. So her total utility from purchasing three cars is 24. And that's all you have to put. Double I. Teresa's weekly income is $11. The price of a bagel is 2. The price of a toy car is 1. The quantity of bagels and toy cars will maximize Teresa's utility if she spends her entirely weekly income on bagels and toy cars. Explain your answer using marginal analysis. So I'm really glad we wrote down this formula because now we have to use it. So margin utility divided by price. You have to make sure, what did they give me? They gave me the marginal utility. I do not have to find the marginal utility. They gave it to me. Okay. So now I just need to find the price. So the price of a bagel is 2. So the marginal utility divided by price for the first bagel is 8 divided by 2. 2 is the price of a bagel. I'm doing the marginal utility divided by price. 4. I'll do 7 divided by 2. I'm doing the margin utility divided by price, 3.5. Okay, I'm going to do that 6 divided by 2, 5 divided by 2, 4 divided by 2, 3 divided by 2. All I'm doing is the margin utility divided by price. Okay, I will now be doing the margin utility divided by price for toy cars. Okay, so what's the price of a toy car? It's $1. If you need a calculator, no judgment here, but all we're doing is 10 divided by 1, 8 divided by 1, 6 divided by 1, 4 divided by 1, 3 divided by 1, 2 divided by 1. All we're doing is the margin utility divided by the price, which is 1. Okay, okay, so that would be 8, 6, 4, 3, 2. Now that we have our margin utility divided by price for the bagels, we have our margin utility divided by price for the toy cars, we now need to figure out where they are equal. So I'm looking over. Do I have a 4? Yes. Do I have a 3.5? No. Do I have a 3? Yes. Do I have a 2.5? No. Do I have a 2? Yes. Do I have a 1.5? No. All we're doing is trying to match up this column equal to this column. All right, so I've circled my options. So if I want to maximize total utility, that would mean consuming more. The more I consume, the happier I am. So I would start with 5 bagels and 6 cars. The reason I'm doing 5 bagels and 6 cars is because it's 2 equals 2. That's where they're equal, and that happens with 5 bagels, 6 cars. The question then becomes, can I afford 5 bagels and 6 cars? Well, if I'm buying 5 bagels and the price is 2, and I'm buying 6 cars and the price is 1, how much money do I need to buy this? Well, I need 10 for the total for the bagels is 10, and total for the toy cars is 6. So I need $16. How much do I have? I only have 11. So I can't buy that bundle because I don't have enough money. The next option I have is 3 bagels and 5 toy cars. Again, all I'm doing is matching up the margin utility divided by price equal to margin utility divided by price. Okay, and that happens at 3 bagels, 5 toy cars. If I were to do the math on this, the quantity of bagels is 3, quantity of toy cars is 5. If the price is 2 and the price is 1, I need a total of $6 for the bagels, and I need a total of $5 for the toy cars. So my total is 11. Can I buy this bundle? Yes. Are they equal? Yes. So therefore, I buy. So Teresa, so A double I, Teresa will buy. Teresa will buy 3 bagels and 5 toy cars because the marginal utility per dollar. If you're wondering where we're getting this margin utility dollar per dollar, look at what we're doing. The margin utility divided by price. We're doing the margin utility per price, per dollar. Okay? We're matching the margin utility per dollar of bagels, so spent on bagels equal to the marginal utility per dollar spent on toy cars within the budget. Okay? That's all we're doing. Yeah, that is the explanation using margin analysis. You're using the margin utility per dollar spent on bagels equal to the margin utility per dollar spent on toy cars. That's what we're doing. Now, part B. Assume that the price of wheat, an input for the production of bagels, increases. Will Teresa's demand for bagels increase, decrease, or stay the same? If you said decrease, you need to slow down because, read the question again. Assume that the price of wheat, an input, I'm going to say it again, an input for the production of bagels increases. What happened? The price of an input went up. As soon as you see that, supply does down. So what happened to Teresa's demand? Did Teresa's demand change? Or did the quantity demanded change? The answer is the quantity demanded change. The demand did not change. So for B, Teresa's demand for bagels will not change because the increase in the price of wheat will affect supply of bagels, not demand. Okay? That's all you're going to put for B. Because of the price of the input that changed supply, the not change demand. Part C. Assume that Teresa's income elasticity for bagels is negative 0.2. Does the value of Teresa's income elasticity indicate that bagels are normal goods, inferior goods, substitutes, or complements? So right off the bat here, it is income elasticity. The only things we're dealing with here are normal goods and inferior goods. Okay. Cross price is going to be complements and substitutes. But because we're dealing with income, you're only dealing with normal or inferior goods. So remember, if your income elasticity is negative, this means that either your income is going up and your demand goes down, or your income goes down and your demand goes up. When they're moving in opposite directions, this is negative. Okay, so if your income goes up and your demand goes down, well, that sounds like something I don't normally do. That would be an inferior good. Okay? So all you have to say here is that bagels are an inferior good. Or I guess in a way, proper English would actually be bagels are inferior goods. That's all you have to say there. Part D. Suppose that when the price of a toy car increases by 10%, Teresa buys 5% fewer toy cars and 4% less of a different toy block. Calculate the cross price elasticity for toy cars and blocks and indicate if it is positive or negative. Cross price means that you are dealing with the price of toy cars and the quantity of a different good. Cross price. You're dealing with two goods. All right. Now the formula is the same. You're still doing the percent change in quantity divided by the percent change in price. So the change in price was the toy cars. Now it increases by 10%. So that's positive 10%. Okay. And then we need a cross price. So we're dealing not with the toy cars. We're dealing with a different toy. All right. And they do 4% less. Less means negative. It goes down by 4%. If you were to put this in your calculator, you're going to get something like negative 0.4. If it is so that's all you have to put, actually, is this 0.4. So you would write XED equals negative 0.4. That's all you have to write. Okay. So that is everything for question 2. If you kind of struggle with that, I recommend starting over and watching the video again. If that does not help you, please leave a comment and kind of point me in the direction of where you're struggling. I'll see if I can help you out. If that doesn't help, check out the study tools, and there might be some practice questions in there. Okay, so I will be moving on to question 3 in the next video. If you have any suggestions, please let me know. I'd be happy to help you out in any way I can, and I'll see you there.